What is going on, guys, and welcome back to Touchdowns to Home Runs. My name is Bernie. Thank you for joining us today on the Touchdowns to Home Runs show. Hope that your day is going absolutely fantastic. Now, we're within a week away now from this year's Wimbledon tournament, which was canceled back in 2020, but this year we're good to go, ready to play. I'm super excited. So today we're going to be taking a look at the men's and women's side and picking a favorite. Then we'll be picking a higher ranked sleeper, a lower ranked sleeper, and then the players that I think are the most interesting to watch on both the men's and women's side. Now, just before we do get into the video, just keep in mind that I'm filming this again a week prior to the start of the tournament and before any draws actually come out. So none of the matches that are played in these final warm-up tournaments are reflected in any of the stats or any of the predictions and things that I say about these players. But anyways, let's get right into it. So on the men's side, we'll start with the favorite. And obviously, it has to be Novak Djokovic, the five-time Wimbledon champion. Now, Novak comes into Wimbledon with a future betting favorite as a minus 115 to win it all. And really a path that became a whole lot easier when, unfortunately, Nadal withdrew from both the Wimbledon and the Olympics. So it does make for a bit of an easier path for Novak. But Novak's had a tremendous year, coming off a tremendous win in the French Open. Obviously won the Aussie Open earlier on in this year as well and should be a favorite in every match from here on out. And really a favorite to win the calendar slam, all 4 Grand Slams this year. This week, Novak, sort of interesting, opted not to play any warm-up singles matches in the grass court, but he is playing doubles. My guess is still trying to recover, get a little more rest coming into what is a very busy schedule with obviously the Wimbledon tournament coming up and then the Olympics, which is essentially right after that. But allowing him to play doubles gives him a bit of a feel of the surface, which I think is good. But in terms of his quality of play, being tremendous, he's 4th on tour this year in total wins, and he's got an 11-match win streak in singles. He's been very quality in terms of his returning this year. A little streaky on serve, but tremendous on the ground. Really everything that you expect with Novak, the aggressor in rallies, and it's honestly super, super impressive. Let's flip over to the female side. I like Ashleigh Barty. Again, I think this is the actual betting favorite, but the women's draw is a little more wide open, so Ashleigh Barty is only a plus 500 in this one, but she is the number 1 ranked player in the WTA rankings. And it sounds weird to say this, but even though Barty's lone Grand Slam did come on clay at the French Open, I actually think Barty has more potential in terms of what she can do on the grass. She leads the tour in aces. She's top 4 in the tour on first serve points won in terms of percentages and serve percent won as well, which I think translates really, really well to the speed of the grass court very nicely. Overall, she's been in great form this year. She's 2nd in match win percentage to only Osaka. And I think, she pulled out of the French Open, so as long as her match fitness is ready to go for this next slam, I think she's got a great shot to win it. Let's flip back over to the men's and now the high-level sleepers, so players that are ranked, but again, aren't necessarily expected to win the tournament. So on the men's side, I like Matteo Berrettini. He's coming off very nice wins against both Cam Norrie and Alex de Minaur to win the Queen's Club Championship this past weekend. He leads the way on some very, very good young Italian players rising up the ATP rankings, but Berrettini himself is a big server, gets power very easily, is tremendous and able to dominate rallies from the back of the court, super impressive. And again, I think grass is his best surface, already 5-0, of course, this year after his tournament win. And although, there was no grass tournament last year, he was 12-2 back in 2019. So he does have some history on the court. If you didn't know, again, as I was sort of mentioning before, grass court helps the ball move at a faster pace with also a lower bounce. So it really does favor players like Berrettini who have that good serve and who are really good on the ground. I also like that Berrettini and what I saw from him at the quarterfinals in Roland Garros. It only went 4 sets against Novak, but it was really, really tough fought. Love the mentality. I think the experience is definitely going to help him as well coming into this tournament as one of the bigger favorites. On the women's side, I like Bencic. Now, this is a very, very interesting sort of pick, I think, and I'm curious as well because she hasn't had a tremendous year, and there's really no question that Bencic has been far from the top of her game. But what I really like about her in this tournament, especially if you're a betting person, she's a plus 4,000 to win the tournament, and she's the 11th ranked player. Now, I know she only has a 16-12 record this year, but you gotta like that value, and there's a lot of reasons to like Bencic making it deep into this tournament. She's already 4-1 on grass this year. She had a third set championship loss this past weekend in Berlin. But again, a lot of like these other players that I've been mentioning so far. She's a big server. She's 9th on tour in aces, and should be ready to go. She's 71%. Or has a 71% winning percentage on the grass court all time over the course of her career. So again, I really like her to bounce back in this tournament, and I think she could definitely do it in this upcoming slam. Lower level sleeper on the men's side, I like Ugo Humbert. Comes off a very nice ATP 500 victory after a phenomenal week. And I'll tell you, this tournament was not easy by any means. And after beating Querrey, Zverev, Korda, Auger-Aliassime, and Rublev, I mean, that's essentially the hardest 500 schedule that you're really going to play. He's 7-1 on grass this year. He had one 7-6, 7-6 loss, I'm pretty sure it was, to Auger-Aliassime, which isn't a bad loss at all. And I think the surface is really suitable for him in a similar way that it is to Berrettini. Served really well this past week. He was brought a little bit deep into some of his service games, but he did a great job mentally, I thought. Looked very solid, broke when he had to. I talked about the serve dominating on the ground game. So yeah, he's my lower level sleeper. On the women's side, I got another interesting one. And the women's ones are pretty tough to pick. There's a lot of talent on the tour, but the tournaments are really wide open, and I think especially on grass, because obviously there was no Wimbledon tournament last year. But prior to that, in the past 4 tournaments, we've had 4 different winners. So lower level sleeper, I like Paula Badosa. Might come as a surprise because she does have a lack of experience on the grass court, but I think she's going to surprise people in this upcoming slam. If you hadn't noticed, all my sleepers are good, hard-hitting players, good serves. Badosa's no different. She's 12th on tour this year with 110 aces. But that being said, I liked what I saw from her in the French Open. And I know it's different surfaces, but it was an impressive quarterfinal run where she lost to Zidansek 8-6 in the third set. But I didn't think she was ready physically or mentally to make the championship. She actually really surprised me in that tournament. She had a really tough start to the year in the Aussie Open, of course, with all of the pandemic issues. And, I don't think she was really at top form until the French Open. And she surprised me there. I think she's going to continue to build on that. That's why I really like her at this Wimbledon tournament. She's also had a very great year. 23-8 overall record. She's just not getting a lot of attention, I don't think. She does have more slam experience. As I said before, she had a rough start to the year. So I think at this tournament, she's in the best shape of the year. And mentally, I think she's better. She does have a tough match in her warm-up on the grass court against Svitolina. That's tomorrow, the day that I'm filming this. So it'll be a good test. I think it'll be a good measuring tape match for her as well, to see where she is on the grass. In terms of most interesting on the men's tour, it's got to be Roger Federer, the 8-time Wimbledon champion. Now, obviously, quite a number of people, including myself, just from a pure tennis standpoint, want Roger Federer to be successful. I think, everything's really pointing to this probably being his last run at this tournament, which is really sad, but you want it to be at the highest level, I think. What concerns me the most is what concerns a lot of people, though. It's his match fitness. Only played 9 matches year to date. Only played 6 matches in 2020 as well. So over the course of the past 2 years, he really hasn't played. And from what I've watched him this year, he's looking gassed out by the second and third sets. Now, my concern is not the early round matches, because even in the French Open, Federer was able to, play and get through some intense 4-setters. But my concern is when he starts facing guys like Sinner, Felix Auger-Aliassime, guys that he might be able to get in, the 4th round quarterfinals of the slam after he's already had to play a minimum of 9 sets. I mean, I wonder how his body holds up. That's a big concern to me. Specifically, the match to Auger-Aliassime, which was his last match on grass, was a 4-6, 6-3, 6-2 loss. Looked really good in the first set, fought off some break points, looked pretty solid overall, but then again, got dominated in rallies in sets 2 and 3, ended up winning only 14 points on the return in the entire match. But again, I really, really hope if this is Roger's last run at the tournament, I want Roger Federer to be at his best, or as close to the best as we're going to get in this tournament that he's been so successful at historically. On the women's side, pretty similar actually, in a similar situation as Bianca Andreescu. 11-6 record this year. Not only has she not played well, but I think similarly to Federer, she lacks a lot of match fitness. Obviously, she had like an 18-month pause, I think it was, due to an injury, and ever since that has not been at the top of her form. Took a first round exit in the French Open. Also lost her first grass court warm-up. So we're going to have to see where she's at this week. But she's really, really far from the form that we saw when she was winning her 1000s and the Grand Slam. Her ground game looks very inconsistent. She's had 16 double faults in the last 5 sets that she's played, those last 2 losses in matches that she's played. And I think it's very important, again, for her to have a good last week in Eastbourne before she gets back on track for Wimbledon. But anyways, guys, those are my 8 picks, 8 players to watch, if you will. Let me know your thoughts, predictions, comments on everything that I talked about today, and who are you guys going to be looking at come the Wimbledon Grand Slam tournament. But anyways, guys, if you did enjoy today's video, make sure to smash that thumbs up button, subscribe to Touchdowns to Home Runs for more content just like this. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time.